So here we have a crisp tart shell, a creamy, nutty frangipan, and soft, tender poached pears. This is Tarte Bordalue at its best. So we're going to start by preparing our syrup. So I need to make an infusion before I add the sugar. So into a pan I'm adding my water. So I'm bringing my water to a boil and then I'll add the tea, let it infuse and then add the sugar. So I'm just cutting the top and the bottom off some lovely conference pears. Conference pears are going to stay nice and firm, retain some nice texture. So you need about 3 pears for this. So topping and tailing these and then peeling the skin off. So working at Harrods, the world famous department store, started as a tea merchant. We have access to some amazing teas and I fell in love with using Earl Grey as an ingredient. So once my pears are peeled, my water's come to a boil, I'm adding some Earl Grey tea bags and then just setting a timer for about 4 minutes. We want a nice strong infusion. I'm just going to cut these pears in half and then just, if there are seeds, trim them out. So once we have our infusion, we can take out the tea bags. Adding the sugar with water while making the infusion is going to affect how much flavor comes out of the tea. So bring the water to a light simmer with the pears inside. So I've just got my tea syrup on a simmer. I'm poaching these pears for about 8 minutes. I'm just placing a piece of paper on top so that the pears are covered all the way across. After about 6 minutes, you can check the pears. I find it usually takes about 8 minutes. So sticking a knife in, it goes in without meeting any resistance. You can tell that they're going to be tender. So we don't want to overcook these because we will bake these in the tart. So I'm just going to set them aside to cool now. In order to prepare the frangipan, I'm going to use a blender because I like to use whole almonds, natural almonds. So I've got almonds, sugar, and the cornstarch. Though you can also add the baking powder and the flour at this stage as well. I like blending the almonds with the dry ingredients to get a nice powder. So be careful, especially with these smaller blenders. It does work better to pulse them. There we go, we can see that the almonds are nicely blended. And I can now just add the plant-based milk and olive oil, along with lemon zest and the vanilla paste. And then I'm just pulsing this again until I have a beautiful creamy textured frangipan. So I'm just blending that until we have a beautiful creamy thick textured frangipan. I'm just going to spoon this into a piping bag. So some people really love marzipan-y, strongly flavored frangipan. In which case you can always add bitter almond extract. Frangipan into the top of my lovely silicone piping bag. Then I'm going to just pipe this all the way around in a nice layer. So if I'm going to lay my pears in 6th, which is a nice number, I'm just using my knife as a rough guide, and then I'm cutting the pears at a 45-degree angle, just so I get a nice fan, about 3 to 5 millimeters across. And then I'm going to use my hand and press down to create this kind of fanned structure. Now you might find that you have a few pieces too many that fit longer than your pie. That's okay. You can take a piece out of the back and then we just want to press it into our tart. So we have this beautiful 6-petal flower. Now we've pressed the pears in so that any excess frangipan flows into the gaps. We can just sprinkle some flaked almonds over the parts of the frangipan that are exposed, just for a nice bit of texture. So just leaving the pears kind of nicely exposed. So now we can bake this in the oven for about 15 minutes to start, until nicely puffed. So I've just got some glaze. I'm going to microwave it until it melts. I'm just going to lightly dust around the edges, dusting the almonds, the pears. So our glaze is boiled. I like to glaze any fruit. I mean, this is perfectly optional. If you're serving it a couple of hours later, you don't have to do this. But I like to glaze all my fruits. It just gives them, holds them together, gives them a beautiful shine, and just keeps them looking better for a bit longer. Dabbing this glaze all across the pears. This is the Tarte Bordalue at its 100% naturally plant-based best.